Hey, fifth grade. How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the end of another week of drama class. So, what we are going to do today is we are going to analyze yet another scene, possibly two. We'll see how much time we have. And we are going to break them down and see how all four of the elements that make a scene work within a scene. Sorry, that's a little repetitive, I know. But let's go ahead and review, while we're here, let's review the four steps of scene analysis. So, scene analysis, like it says up there. So we did a scene with two males, and it was a comedy last time. This scene, we're going to stick with comedies. I figure, with everything going on right now, we could use a good laugh. So I'm going to do that. And we are going to break down a scene between two females this time. So ladies, I didn't forget you. Let's go ahead and get started. But first, before we do, let's go ahead and remind ourselves of the four steps. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we have, let me see here. The first thing we do in scene analysis, remember, is we figure out the all right. I'm going to draw a line under scene analysis so we don't get jumbled here. Give me one sec. There it is. Okay. So a character journey. How does the character feel and what is their motivation? What do they want to do? Remember, as they journey throughout a scene. So how do they feel at the beginning? What do they want at the beginning? How did they feel in the middle? What do they want in the middle? And how do they feel at the end? What do they want at the end? Right? So let's go ahead and do our next one. Number 2 is journey. We have plot progression, right? Plot progression. So we have the scene. We know exactly how it goes, right? We have the dialogue in front of us. But in order to help us get into character, right, to really act like these characters and get a feel for how they feel, for lack of a better term, right, and a feel for what they want, we need to figure out what happens at the beginning or before a scene in the past and what happens in the future at the end of a scene. Now, most of the time, like I said, when you get a script for a movie or for a play, you will read the whole thing. But in this exercise, don't forget, we are going to start in a very simple way. We are going to take two-person scenes that are just written by themselves, and that's why we are doing plot progression, to figure out what happened before and what happened after. All right. Number 3, again, is exposition. Exposition, once again, is, just a little bit at the beginning, something the character might say, or maybe if it's a play, there's a stage direction that tells you what is going on, who this person is, and what's going on in the scene, right? Just a little bit. If a scene is all exposition, it is boring. We don't ever want to do that, right? Okay, and number 4, number 4 is the one I added. Remember, number 4 is beats. There's some confusion with this one. We don't talk about beats like music, like on a drum or something, right? Or beats audio. We are talking about the different segments that we break a scene down into. You may remember our monologue with Abby the dog. We had 6 beats, right? Broke those down. Our scene yesterday, very short scene, only had 2 beats, right? Remember our characters, Greg and Rowley. Greg was a little insecure. Rowley was a little overconfident, right? So they switched by the end. There was a beat because suddenly Greg had this great idea, and they didn't want to go into Roderick's room. And remember, that was the fun part for us. We didn't know who Roderick was, so it was up to us to figure out his character as well. And our decision to make him the mean old science teacher with this big skeleton in his room helped us to flesh him out and give Rowley something to be afraid of with that last line. All right, so if that all makes sense, what I'm going to do is, again, I apologize. I know with virtual it's hard to read scenes, but the best thing I can do again is to just go ahead and point out the 2 characters, and then we will break them down. We will figure out who they are, what relationship they have, right? And then I'll read it to you as best I can, and then we'll go ahead and do yet another analysis. And if we have time, I might do another one. Like I said, I tried looking for some dramas, but most of what I found is a little too serious and perhaps a little more appropriate for middle school kids. So like older middle school, high school. So I think we'll stick with comedies for now because we all love to laugh, and I want to keep this light and fun for the sake of you guys. Okay? So let me just go ahead and pull up what I have here. All right, so this scene, the scene we did yesterday was called Wimpy Kid. It's not related to Diary of a Wimpy Kid, but it's sort of similar, right? So that was about 2 boys who were bullied a little bit on their first couple of days of school, and all they wanted to do was get even with their bullies, right? So a classic like, let's pick a prank to pull that would get the bullies back. This one is a little more lighthearted, right? This one is funny, but it's with 2 females this time. And without revealing too much, let me just make sure I've got everything set correctly here. I will go ahead and I will read the scene to you guys. So we have 2 characters. We have Rory is one of the females, and the other female is Lorelai. So we're going to go ahead and explore these characters and see what we get. All right. So the scene begins, and Rory starts up by saying, "Mom, what are you doing up?" And Lorelai says, "Oh, I couldn't sleep." And Rory says, "It's freezing in here." Lorelai says, "Wait, close your eyes and breathe." "I smell snow." Rory responds. She says, "Ah, it's that time of year." Lorelai says, "Well, can't you smell it?" And Rory says, "It's like dogs and high-pitched noises. I think it's something only you can smell." Lorelai says, "Oh, I love snow." Rory says, "Really? I had no idea." Lorelai says, "Everything's magical when it snows. Everything looks pretty. The clothes are great, coats, scarves, gloves, hats." And Rory says, "Thermal underwear, wool socks, ear flaps." Lorelai says, "Do you know that the best things in my life have happened when it snowed?" And Rory says, "Why, yes, I do." Sorry guys, let me scroll down here. Lorelai says, "My best birthday." And Rory says, "Your first kiss." Lorelai says, "Your first steps." They all happened when it snowed. I feel good, tingly, Rory says, "That's called frostbite." And Lorelai says, "You're mocking your mother, the woman who birthed you." Rory says, "I'm sorry. So, how soon is it supposed to hit?" Lorelai says, tomorrow. Definitely tomorrow. And Rory says, "Okay then, tomorrow it is. You, me, donuts, coffee, standing out in a snowstorm." Lorelai says, "At midnight?" And Rory says, "At midnight." And Lorelai just sighs and says, "You are my favorite daughter." And there you are. All right then, so we have a lot to look at here, my friends. Let's go ahead and take a peek at what we've got. So we have two characters. We have Rory and Lorelai. Let's put them down here. See if I have room. Yeah, plenty of room. Rory and Lorelai. Spelled a lot of different ways, but for our purposes, it's this one. Okay, so we don't know their relationship really until the very end, if we were just reading this for the first time. So, obviously, they are mother and daughter. So, Rory is daughter, and Lorelai is the mother. It's a very simple scene, very fun, breaks down a good relationship between a mother and a daughter, right? And there are a couple of beats in this one too, and we'll break that down when we get to it. Different feelings, different motivations, right? So let's go ahead and figure out first the character journey, right? Now, these journeys are a little simpler than other scenes. At least I think so. So it's very easy. We need to think about how they feel at the beginning, how they feel at the middle, and how they feel at the end. So I'm going to draw a little extension here. In one sec. Let's do B, M, E. Let me see if you guys can see that. All right, I'm going to move my screen over so we can all check that out. Can I do that? All right, we'll go this way. There we go. All right, so B, M, E, right? Beginning, middle, and end. B, M, E. So we'll do one for, actually, you know what? I changed my mind. Let's write it over here so it's by the characters. That makes more sense. So B, M, E. There we go. Perfect. So let's start with Rory, right? So we have Rory's journey first. In the beginning, right, just go ahead and review the script. Remember that Rory is a little sarcastic, right? She comes up. At first, at the beginning, she wants to know what her mom is doing. Why is mom awake? So late. Right? And then eventually, by the middle, she realizes that it's because of snow. Middle, teasing her mom about snow. About snow. Snow. And then at the end, she remembers, her mom reminds her of all the good times they had with snow, and she wants to spend it with her. So, good memories of snow, wants to spend to spend time with mom. All right. Okay, so we have that. Rory's is pretty easy. Now, Lorelai's is a little more interesting. Not as big of an emotional change, but no less interesting. So let's go ahead and take a look at Lorelai's journey. So Lorelai, basically at the beginning, so we did Rory. So Rory's is up here. Let's make sure you guys can see all that, right? So take a good look at this before I get rid of it, guys. So I know it's kind of far away, but Rory, right at the beginning, why is Mom awake so late? We're wondering about that. In the middle, teasing Mom about snow, and at the end, there are good memories of snow that she remembers and she wants to spend time with Mom. So we've got all that, and that works. Okay, so moving right along. Let's erase this, and we'll get Lorelai up there. Let's get this going a little more. So we have, and Lorelai. Okay, so at the beginning, there we go, right here. Beginning. Lorelai is excited about snow. She can't stop talking about snow. Excited. She feels excited, wants snow to come. She wants snow, right? The middle, she's reminiscing, so she feels thankful, right? She feels thankful all the times that she had, right? And then I'm going to put a final feeling here. She feels calm because she's thinking about all the things that she and Rory are going to do when they get coffee, donuts, and they sit out at midnight in the snow. So good memories all around. So thankful for memories, calm, spend the night in snowstorm. Sounds cool to me. All right, so we have all that. Now then, let's see what else we have here. Night in snowstorm, cool. So we have that. A very simple beginning, middle, and end for Lorelai, but that also works on several levels. So we have our two character journeys. I'll leave this up for a little bit so you guys can see it, right? Oh, sorry. Ooh, I thought I'd sneeze. And let's move on to plot progression. I'll keep this up here. We'll move plot progression over this way. All right? And let's see what we can do here. So plots. No, you know what? Sorry, guys. Don't have enough room, so we'll get rid of this. Plot progression. So we need to figure out what happened. We have past and the future. The future's pretty easy in this one, right? So we know what they're going to do. Oh, sorry, guys, I wrote future kind of low. So the future, they are going to get coffee and donuts, and they are going to sit out in a snowstorm. So we know that part already. Future sits in snowstorm with coffee and donuts. And in the past is a little more interesting. Now, if we take a look at the way they feel, right? Now, Rory, obviously, for the first part, she's a little sarcastic. That was something I forgot to mention in the character journey. She feels calm and content, and she's reminiscing about great memories at the end. But for the most of the beginning and the middle, she's sarcastic, right? She teases Lorelai about liking snow. Lorelai talks about all the great things with snow, and Rory chimes in with things that she doesn't like long underwear, right, and stuff like that. So, in the past, with how sarcastic Rory is being, right? Maybe they had an argument, right? And that's up to us. We can figure out what the argument was about. It's that's something to think about later. But let's just write that down. Arguments. So maybe they had a disagreement. They were thinking of some place to go for the weekend, and they had a disagreement. So let's say that. Argument about vacation. Let's just write that down. That's happened. I know that sounds like a weird thing, but I know some of my aunts and uncles, right? They argue about where to go. They want to go all around Wisconsin, see something cool, and they just can't decide where. So, an argument about vacation, maybe. What are we going to do, right? Can we go because of the snow? Maybe Lorelai wanted to go somewhere cool because of the snow, but Rory didn't think it was a great idea. So, we have that. Possibly an argument about vacation, right? Okay, so we have those. That's our past, and that's our future. And that helps, this scene in particular, this past, I think, helps give the scene a lot of emotional weight. So now what you have is, basically, maybe Rory comes in, sees her mom standing outside. Maybe her mom can't sleep because she's a little hurt by the argument they had. So maybe Lorelai goes outside to see what's up. And maybe Lorelai, or Rory rather, feels a little hurt by the argument, so she still feels like being sarcastic to her mom. So, in a way, it seems like the discussion about snow could make them both feel better at the end. And eventually, they do. They decide their future is going to be sitting in the snowstorm, and having coffee and donuts and feeling very good. So, there you have it. All right, we have that. So now this scene is interesting. There's not a lot of exposition about what's happening in the scene, right? At least not at the beginning, right? And, however, this is an interesting scene because in the middle we actually get our exposition, right? So there's lines about, Lorelai says, do you know some of the best things that ever happened to me happened when I was in snow? And then we hear Lorelai's first kiss, right? Her being born, right? The first time that Rory walked, right? All those things. All those things, absolutely every single one of those things were great memories. So they go ahead and they reminisce, right? And they talk about everything. And Lorelai eventually changes her tone, and we'll talk about this in beats. She reminds Rory that she's teasing her, and it's not very nice. So Rory eventually decides, you know what, my mom really likes this. I won't tease her anymore. Okay? So there we go. So exposition in the middle, right? I'll write down here. Good memories from snow. So the stuff that happened in the past, we get a little bit of a background, right? So there we go. Okay, now comes the fun part. We get to split this scene up into beats. Now this one, as far as I'm concerned, may have a couple more than what we had last time with the two boys and the wimpy kids scene. So let's go ahead and take a look. Now, from what I'm reading, there are, let's see, sorry guys, let me just take a look. So our first beat, right away, is, let's see. First beat occurs when Rory says, Mom, what are you doing up? I couldn't sleep. It's freezing in here, right? Up to, can't you smell it? And I think from there, there's beats. Just see I have enough room to do this with you guys here. 1 second. I'll erase this and write it over here. Okay, so beat number 1 is that one. So beat 1, right? Beats up here. Beats. Number 1. Number 1, rather. We have the overall mood is that they feel a little There's curious, right? Rory is curious about what they're doing up, and what Lorelai's doing up, and Lorelai's curious about whether or not it will snow. So curious, it's a small mess, I apologize, is the first one. All right, next one we have is the second beat. Let's go ahead and scroll back down here. We have, it's only like dogs and high-pitched noises. It starts with that line that Rory has, and then it goes down to, let's see, thermal underwear, wool socks, ear flaps, right? That's a shorter beat. So right there, beat 2, the mood is definitely sarcastic. So we have that beat, right? Now beat number 3, we have from Do You Know That the Best Things in My Life Have Happened When It Snowed? Right? And it up to when Lorelai says, your first steps, they happen when it snowed. I feel good, tingly. So the mood definitely becomes more calm. Then, oh so briefly, beat number 4, the next 2 lines. That's called frostbite. And then Lorelai says, you're mocking your mother, the woman who birthed you, right? So we go back to sarcastic a little bit. Just 2 lines. Beat number 5 comes right after that. I'm sorry, so how soon is it supposed to hit? Tomorrow, definitely tomorrow. Okay then, tomorrow it is. You, me, donuts, coffee, standing out in a snowstorm. At midnight, you are my favorite daughter. And very simple, they feel happy because they want to spend time together. Okay, so there you have it. We figured out a character journey with this scene. We have figured out plot progression. We have a great past we came up with, a pretty easy future, but a great one that helps the scene going forward. And exposition, just a little bit, right? Good memories from the snow. And beats. 5 beats in this very short scene, which is good. Lots of feelings, lots of emotion between mother and a daughter, right? So that all works itself out very well. Now, my friends, one thing I should point out, even though I read this scene to you guys, right? This scene is available on Schoology to look at. So if you want to formulate your own analysis of this and figure out what's going on, you can do that. I will be creating an assignment on Schoology for you guys to use, right? You can drop it in the bin. I know we've had some difficulty with that before, but go ahead and try your best. I will make sure to get that right. I will create that tomorrow, right? Because what I want you guys to do over the weekend is look at the other scenes and actually, you know what? Just look at the other scenes over the weekend, right? And go ahead and try to take these 4 things and see what you can come up with on your own, right? And I will go ahead and create a little Dropbox for you guys if you want to show me some ideas, an assignment box on Schoology. You can put some ideas in there over the weekend if you have a chance, if you take a look, right? And then on Monday, after I see some things you've written, we will go ahead and talk about them virtually, and I will give you guys my analysis of these scenes as well. All right, I know this is a lot, guys, but I think this is awesome for you all to learn. So if you ever decide to do drama, you're in a play, you're in a show, you will know how to break down characters and dialogue based on what you have. All right, my friends, thank you so much. I miss you guys. Hopefully I see a bunch of you in Wave 2. And hey, have a great weekend. All right? Okay, guys. See ya.